Welcome to the American Center for School Safety and our continuing series on how to reduce risk inside the school environment. This is an informational series for school, police, and security personnel. And our focus today is how high-quality technology can enhance the capability of school administrators, police officers, and security officers, not only in sharing information, but dealing with threat assessment, how to develop that system, and emergency management planning. To that end, I want to welcome to the program Dr. Matthew Miraglia of CLPS Consultants, who is here not only to share his very interesting background, but the technology that can help all of us make that school safer. Dr. Miraglia, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me, John.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and what it is you're doing out there all over the country.
Sure. Well, I come from the practical world. I was in the military and I spent 21 years in law enforcement, was a detective, worked in schools as a school resource officer, later was on the counterterrorism task force in New York State. So I have a lot of experience working in schools. And then later on I went back to school and I got some advanced degrees, including my doctorate degree. And I conducted a lot of research in the area of school safety and emergency management. So I sort of combined these two areas together. And my company, CLPS, is we were helping schools and law enforcement agencies around the country make schools safer.
And I can imagine in today's climate, the demand for school administrators and school police officers to be able to have a system that's efficient, that's simple, that not only helps them in the actual response to crisis, but in developing information regarding threats before the crisis happens, because as you and I know, the best response is to have no response at all.
Absolutely.
And how is your technology, maybe you could talk a little bit about the technology you've developed, which has really created a ripple effect around the country that schools and police departments and security officials have been drawn to?
Yeah, so the vulnerability gap that we see is on the law enforcement and emergency management side. Those are professionals that are trained to do what they need to do on a regular basis. They're constantly preparing for different types of emergencies. And on the school side, I would probably say being an educator in the 21st century might be one of the most complex career fields you can get into, because not only do you have to handle all the academic side of things and the education of children and everything that goes on with that, now they're tasked with this other responsibility, which they've always been tasked with, but we've seen greater challenges now in the 21st century, from whether it's severe weather emergencies, natural disasters, or human-caused threats like shooters and threats in schools. So what we've decided to do is bridge that gap by creating software solutions that can assist these school administrators, that they already have a complex job, that will help them be able to plan for, respond to, mitigate, and recover from various natural and human-caused emergencies. And that's kind of what we're doing here. We want to keep our program simplistic to the point where it's easy to use and user-friendly, but we need it to be able to collaborate with the emergency responders, whether it be police, fire, or medical, so schools can comprehensively protect their students and staff. It's very important. I mean, I say this to parents all the time. You ask any parent, would you rather your kid get a scholarship to Yale University or hit the winning home run in the game, or would you rather them come home safe at the end of the school day? And
Sure.
Every parent in America is going to tell you, I want my kid coming home safe at the end of the day.
Absolutely. So let's get down in the weeds a little bit and let's give our viewers a good snapshot of the application you've developed and how that process specifically helps them throughout every school day.
Right. So we look at it through the lens of emergency management. So there's phases of emergency management that are preparedness and prevention, obviously response and recovery. So when we're talking about prevention, that's our end goal here. That's our primary goal. So we want to be able to prevent incidents from happening. And if prevention fails, we need to have things in place that can mitigate and lessen the negative impact an event may have on a school.
So, and you've developed an application for
We do.
this.
We developed some softwares. Well, one is an actual emergency planning software system, which will assist the school administration into setting up their crisis teams and their emergency response teams and their floor plans and their protocol. Again, they're busy administrators. It has features in there where you can schedule your training drills, and it'll send the principal or email reminder to tell them they need to do a drill, and it archives everything they're doing. So it meets state standards and mandates for compliance, but it's also a easy way to manage safety. And then on the prevention side, we developed a cutting-edge threat assessment tool, and this tool is a software solution where we set up school threat assessment teams using the members inside the school, administrators, mental health prevention coordinators, school psychologists, counselors. And what we're doing here is there's certain things that have been shown through years of research that are indicators of a kid being at higher risk to be violent at school. Mm-hmm. So we set up these teams, and we have a software solution that they can use, and it's an objective, non-biased system where they can assess behaviors, and it'll give them a snapshot of, is this student at higher risk? And if they are, well, we're going to prevent the violence, but now we're going to be able to get them the help that they need, because obviously kids that are going down a pathway to violence, in some ways they're victims too. So we want to intervene early enough in their lives to get them help and obviously prevent violence. And then we also have a cutting-edge crisis communication application. This is a multi-platform application that can go on an iOS or Android phone or device. It also goes on a computer, and it allows school administrators and teachers that when they're in their facilities, on their campuses, they can instantly report incidents by pushing an alert. So here's the vulnerability we see when it comes to communications. And I found this not only in my years in the Marine Corps and in law enforcement, but through my research, this was something that kind of popped up every time I did research on this area. Communications during emergencies might be one of your biggest vulnerabilities, because you could have good plans, you could have good locking mechanisms, you could have a great police department that will respond to emergencies. But if you can't deliver messages from point A to point B in real time, then you're in trouble. So what this application allows is it allows school teachers can report danger and hit a button, and it alerts everyone within 3 seconds. And time matters. Let's take your worst case scenario, the active shooter scenario. Obviously, we see an issue with this around the United States, okay? We know statistically that 70% of the time, 70 out of 100 active shooter incidents are done in 5 minutes or less.
Yes.
So what that tells any reasonable person is the school, the employees, the teachers, the administrators, they just have a few moments to take the right actions to protect their students, to lock them down into classrooms or evacuate them, and time matters. So obviously the police are well trained, they're going to respond to the school, and they're going to do what they're trained to do. But it's those first few moments. So if you can't communicate an emergency quickly and horizontally, it can't be from a PA system only, because first of all, a PA system, it can't reach everywhere on campus.
Right.
Also, think about a PA system. I've yet to find a volunteer, a front office receptionist, or an administrator that's willing to stand at the PA council and make announcements if there's a shooter in the building. They're going to need to protect themselves. So what we're looking at here is we're equipping employees and school administrators with the capability to send out messages to protect themselves and their students instantly, and we're really proud of this application.
So you've really solved the problem, which is, it's no wonder now, it's no mystery that this type of application process you've developed has become a magnet, attracting the interest of administrators and police departments all over the country, because the problem you're solving, and frankly have solved, is administrators and police officers don't have the time. They don't have the time to take the information they need on a particular threat or a particular student and to be able to capture that and communicate it in rapid, efficient fashion, and still rely on it to be accurate. So when viewers out there hear this type of solution, what are you calling these applications, and how would they get access to them?
Right. So the first one I refer to is called our Emergency Management Plan Solution. This is a full digitized software solution. It's customizable, so we created it in such a fashion that if you're in the state of New Jersey, you can use the protocols that are required in New Jersey. If you're in the state of Florida or Georgia or Alabama, so it's customizable, and it's encrypted. It's very secure. We're very careful on anything we do. We take into account student privacy, faculty privacy, FERPA, any of these laws regarding privacy. So I just wanted to make that clear as well.
Sure.
So the Emergency Management Plan Solution is one solution. The other two I mentioned was the threat assessment. This is something where we develop and we help schools set up their threat assessment teams, and now they actually have a tool that they can use. I look at it like this. The threat assessment is very important because what happens after we have one of these violent attacks at a school is the news media, the law enforcement, people go out and they gather all this information, and it seems to be the same scenario every time. Why didn't they know this ahead of time? How come nobody asked these questions? These kids, these adolescents that are typically carrying out these attacks, they're not invisible. And there's certain behaviors that they do that's been shown through research. So if schools knew what questions to ask and which data to collect, they would be able to have the information necessary to intervene early enough and prevent the violence. And again, I'd mentioned one of the benefits to this program is through this data collection, schools now have information where now they can help the child. Okay, so
Sure.
it's a twofold system. And then the last one we were talking about is the emergency communications. We actually call it a hazard and threat management crisis communication system because it's set up in a fashion where it's more than just communication. We also have accountability features in there where you can take attendance of students and staff. You can report kids that maybe are missing. You can also have access to your emergency protocols within the application itself. So we call it a comprehensive hazard and threat management system. But most importantly, John, time matters. Whether a kid is having a seizure and they need an ambulance, or something happens in the building, or there's an armed threat, time matters. And I think every parent in America could agree. They would be really happy to know that their school can be able to communicate in 3 seconds and protect their children.
And it sounds to me, to bring this full circle, not only are you reducing tremendously the amount of time that it would take to do all this without these applications, but the information not only has to come quickly, but accurately. And the way you've described this process, that the information coming across that's going from administrator to officer, no matter what the scenario, is going to be accurate. Not only come in rapid fashion, but is going to be accurate.
And you touch on something that's very important that sometimes we forget to talk about. We talk about the word collaboration, and it is essential that schools collaborate with first responders. Now, this is very important because the first responders, police, fire, medical, they're the ones that are going to respond to that school. So there needs to be a bridge between the police and the school, and that's what our software allows. Our software integrates with the police departments, with the fire departments, and it allows that collaboration. Collaboration is very important because it's really, there's a lot of stakeholders here. The students, the faculty, the teachers, the parents, the first responders in the community. Everyone is a stakeholder when it comes to school safety. So what we've done is we've designed platforms and solutions to help everyone collaborate so everyone is involved with school safety and security.
So to put a final message out to our viewers, I now know from this program that I can access all of this on my phone. I want it. I want to get it. How do I contact you? What is the name of the application we're looking for, so that they have instant access to this type of process?
So if anyone needs to find out more about some of these solutions, they can go to our website. It's CLPSconsultants.com, and the CLPS stands for Crisis Leadership Preparedness Solutions. So it's CLPSconsultants.com. You can contact us through our website, or you could call our office, which our office numbers are on the website.
Dr. Miraglia, this has been fantastic information. I'm sure it's going to benefit our viewers greatly. I know it's already benefited thousands around the country. I want to thank you for coming today, and we hope to have you back.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching the American Center for School Safety. Have a great day. Stay safe.